to create a fish using shapes in Photoshop. You're going to start by creating a new file. So you're going to go to Photoshop, New. Then the dimensions that we are going to put in are 11 inches wide and 8.5 inches tall. Your orientation should be in landscape, which is horizontal. We want to leave our resolution at 72 pixels per inch, PPI, with a white background. Once you have these settings created, you're going to hit Create. Next, we're going to locate on the toolbar the left side of the screen. We're going to find the foreground picker, which is right now mine is black and it's the one that's in front. I'm going to click on it and I am going to enter some numbers in to represent the color I'm trying to get. I can either put in RGB numbers, R is 0, G is 255, and B is 255, or you can enter in this code down here at the bottom. This is a hex code. The hex code is 00FFFF. Once you have that, you're going to click OK. The next thing you're going to do is we can click on the paint bucket. To access the paint bucket quickly, you can use the letter G on your keyboard. It's hidden in the drawer that contains the gradient tool. And you can click on your background layer that way. I'm going to undo. Or you can use a keyboard command, Alt, Backspace. Both things work the same way. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work with my layers panel. And for the sake of this video, I'm pulling my layers panel up here so that it makes it easier for you to follow along in the video. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to create a new layer just so I can give myself an extra layer and I'm not messing with the background. Another way, so I pressed on the plus down here. Another way to do a new layer is you can come up here to the layer menu and choose new layer. Or you can use the keyboard command Shift Control N to, at the same time, to make a new layer. If you don't see your layers panel, remember you can go to Window and choose Layers, or use the keyboard command F7 that's at the top of your keyboard. Next, we want to select the Shape tool. The keyboard command to access the Shape tools is the letter U. Now mine already happens to be on the Custom Shape tool, but yours may be on the rectangle. We want to come down here to the Custom Shape tool, and then now we need to download some new shapes. Because we're not worried about legacy shapes, I can download them from my options bar. I'm going to click on my shape selector, and then I come over here to the gears, and I want to choose Import Shapes. Now, when you import shapes, you want to click over here on the left side and choose this PC. Then we're going to click on the iDrive. It says GHS $ GISD data iDrive. I double click on that, 2 clicks on Bradley, 2 clicks on graphics, and 2 clicks on fish in Photoshop. And then I do 1 click, or I can do 2 clicks actually, and it will put the Bradley custom shapes in my shape selector. So I just pulled this out so you guys can see them a little bit easier. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, and this is going to change up from what you did in the previous lesson, is we want to change it from pixels to shape. By doing it this way, it allows us to choose the color before we make the shape, but it also allows us to easily edit it later. I'm going to click on gray, so any color of gray that you find that you like. Right now, my stroke should be no stroke, which is the white box with the red line through it. So right now, a stroke won't show up. A stroke is just the same thing as an outline. And then I'm going to change my pixel size for the stroke to 5 pixels. So in case later I decide that I want to use a stroke, the size will already be set. Now again, this is something different than what you did in the previous lesson, because in the previous lesson I told you to use only pixels, but this time you want to make sure that shapes is selected at the top of your screen. Okay, so we have our custom shapes downloaded, and I want you to find the heart, and I like this heart that's kind of rounded a little bit more. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a large heart. Oh, let me undo that real quick. because I had accidentally changed my stroke to black. So I'm going to do it again. And so now you see that I have a large gray heart with no stroke. I'm going to click on my canvas one more time and drag, and I want a heart that's about half the size of the first one. And as I drag again, I'm going to get a smaller heart. So I have small, medium, and large. You'll notice that because I'm using the shape option, now every time I click and drag something, it creates a new layer. Okay, so I have the hearts created. Now I want to come over here, and I just want to choose the ellipse tool. And I'm going to draw an ellipse that's about half the size of the little heart, and then do another one that's about half the size of that. Okay, we're almost done. We just have 2 more shapes to go. I'm going to go back to my custom shapes, and I'm going to find the one that's the explosion. So the explosion has there's several different ones you could actually use. I like this one the best. So I'm going to use this explosion. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the lightning bolt. Now, if you placed yours in a different area than what I did, that's totally fine. Now, we want to go up and select our Move tool. Move uses the shortcut V, and so it's the little crosshair arrows that are in the top of your toolbar. And so what we want to do is we want to select a heart. So I'm going to start with the first heart, and I'm going to use the keyboard command Control-T. That's a shortcut that we use quite often. Now I need to rotate this heart, so I'm going to put my cursor out here outside of the corner so it becomes a bendy arrow, and then I'm going to rotate it around. It doesn't have to be a perfect negative 90 degrees, but pretty close. Then I'm going to click on the second heart layer, and I'm going to do the same thing, Control-T, but this time I want to turn the heart in the opposite direction. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the third heart, the smallest one, Control-T, and I want to turn it the same direction as the first large heart. That's all I have to worry about with changing the positions and placement for right now. When you have a box that's in Control-T, this is called a bounding box, and it has these handles on it. And I can click on other layers over here on the side to exit out of that bounding box, or I can click on the check mark that's up here on my options bar, or press enter on the keyboard. Right now I'm going to hit the check mark so you can see what happens to committing the transformation. Okay, next I'm going to change the color of all these pieces. So I'm going to click on the first heart, and with the first heart selected, cancel. With the first heart selected, if I'm over here on the heart, if I click on the custom shape tool, I go back up here to my options bar. Originally, my heart was gray, but this time, let's see, I think in the example, I used a blue or dark blue heart. So I'm going to choose that blue heart there. Then I'm going to click on the middle heart, and I'm going to turn it to a shade of purple. So all I have to do is click on the layer, and then I'm going to come up here. You can click on these different options to get different colors of your brushes. I like this pure purple. It's actually pure violet. Okay, next I click on the small heart, and this is going to become the fish's lips. So I'm going to make it hot pink. Now we need to work on the eyeball. So I'm going to click on the first ellipse, and I'm going to change that color to white. I click on the second ellipse. I'm going to change that color to black. Then I'm going to change the explosion or the boom to a shade of green. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the lightning bolt and change it to a shade of yellow. Okay, so now we have the colors set up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Move tool, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on this auto select option up here at the top. It's on my options bar, and I am going to start moving some stuff around. I'm going to leave the big heart where it's at, and now I'm going to place the smallest heart right there. I'm going to move the medium-sized heart where it overlaps the point of the largest one. I'm going to move the explosion above the heart, and then I move the white. If you have figured this out, this is our fish. So I am just piecing the objects together. This is going to be a little fin. Now, right now, it's looking pretty good, but there's a couple of things that I need to rearrange. I need this explosion to go underneath the body of the fish because I don't want it to look like hair, but I want it to look like a fin. So I'm going to click on my layer that has my explosion. Mine's called Boom 1. And I'm going to pull it down. I'm just clicking and dragging in the layers panel. And I can click and drag it down so where it's below the heart. Next, we want to click on the medium-sized heart. And I want to send this one behind the, I want to send it behind the blue large heart. So again, I'm going to come over here to my layers panel. I'm going to click and drag, and now it goes behind the heart. Now, the next thing that we've got to do is, this is important, you want to group all of your layers together. That means that when I group it together, I can resize it, I can move the fish, I can do all these cool things with it. It goes pretty easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the top layer, and I'm going to click on it so it's selected. I know it's selected because it's going to be either a darker gray or a blue that stands out, depending on what version of Photoshop you're in. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to click on the bottom layer. Notice I did not get the background layer because I want this fish to move independently from the background layer. There's two ways of creating a group. One way is to come down here and click on the group folder at the bottom of the layers panel, or you can use the keyboard command Control-G to put the group together. Just for like organization purposes, I'm going to rename my group so I remember that this is the heart fish. When I have the heart fish there, I should be able, if my layer that I'm on, my group layer up here is selected, if I do Control-T, it should allow me to resize and rotate and move my fish all together. I noticed some people have sent me messages and said, hey, it's only moving certain pieces even though I put it in a group. That's probably because you only have one of the options or one of the layers selected. If you're still having trouble with this, you can go back and shift click all of those layers. And then there's a link option down here in the lower left corner of the layers panel. You can click on link, and now what it'll do is the same thing. It just puts them all together and allows you to move them again. Okay, so we have actually finished part 1 of this lesson, but there's a couple of things that you need to do to save this project. You're going to go to File, and we want to choose Save As. And if your screen pops up where it's still asking you if you want to save it on your computer, we do want to save to our computer. And when we do that, you're going to go to this PC, you're going to find the icon that I refer to as your little buddy because it has your first and last name on it. And you have already created a folder that's on your little buddy thing called graphics. I'm going to make one here for the example folder, and I'm going to call it graphic demo. You don't have to rename a folder. So I've got it called graphic demo. Now by default, because I had layers, it's going to automatically save it as a PSD file, but I need to rename it. So it's going to be called your name. So mine might be Dawn Bradley, and then a hyphen fish 1. I don't have to type the .psd because the computer will put it in there for me, but that's an okay thing to get started. So I'm going to hit save. Now, very few people remember to do this next step, and it's really important because it's part of your grade. You're going to go to File, and you're going to choose Export, and we want to choose Quick Export as PNG. So when I do a quick export, now it's going to place the graphic in the same folder where your PSD is, but it's going to change the name of your file to a PNG file. So we want to click on that and press Save. The next thing that we want to do is we want to take a screenshot of our layers panel. Now, earlier this week, I asked you to click on your Windows tool and type in snip. Okay, so from here, I'm going to click on New. And all I have to do is just click on this layers panel so I can see all of the layers. If you have several layers opened up, you would just go ahead and extend your layers panel by pulling it down. But I have my layers panel pulled up and I want to save this. So I'm going to click on the little save as option here. You can also do Control S. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to call this screenfish.png. Okay, so it's going to put it in a different folder. So you have to make sure that you're going to the right folder because since it's a different software, you would have to go in and make sure that you have it in the right spot. So we're going to click on save. And now those 3 items should be in the folder that you created. I'm double clicking on my graphics demo and I see that I have Screenfish, your name, PNG, and your name, Fish1 PSD. So we are going to stop the video right there. That is the end of part 1. And to follow along with part 2, just stick around for the next video.